Hey everyone, welcome to Breathe to Healing podcast. My name is Tammy Trayer. I am your host, and this is episode number 4. Today we're going to talk about the fact that it is okay to not be okay. So thank you for joining me today, and I just want to share a little backstory here, if you will. I kind of went missing in action for a couple weeks there. In September, God placed it really heavily on my heart that I needed to get back to Pennsylvania. I live in Idaho. My dad has not been doing well for a while, and he was losing his fight to dementia and really just felt the need to return. So that is exactly what I did. I am very obedient to God's calling and purchased my ticket. And I returned to Pennsylvania. I arrived on the 20th of October, which was my mom's birthday, and had lots of mixed emotions there. I didn't have the greatest childhood growing up. I was picked on, and my mom and I didn't have the greatest relationship. It was very abusive, both physically and verbally. I had a really good relationship with my dad. So it was a difficult trip. I had broken ties with my family in 2016. After I had my life-saving surgery, things got really toxic and I needed to heal. I needed a stress-free, non-toxic environment. So I made the decision, which was hard, but also the very best decision I've made in my life. It's changed a lot of things. And boundaries are important, healthy relationships are important, and I didn't have either of those in place. So God put it back on my heart to get back in touch with them at the beginning of this year, and I've been Zooming with my dad and communicating with them, and I'm really glad I returned. It was such a beautiful, God-orchestrated return trip. And I will have loving memories for the rest of my life from that time with my dad. I got there and he remembered me, gave me a big hug, and we communicated, which was super nice. Come to find out, my mother-in-law is such a gem. My in-laws are such gems. I love that woman. She picked me up at the airport and chauffeured me for 4 or 5 days. Just really made me feel loved. I just was in such a place of deep, deep gratitude while I was there. She's just so nurturing and took that time to help me to be able to do all that I needed to do there. And I just can't thank her enough. But it was just so divine. And she videotaped my encounter with my dad. And, I felt his hand go up on my head, and he was kissing my cheek and was just so excited to see me. But to find out later that he wasn't talking much, that he was barely moving his hands. He hadn't talked to my mom in like 3 months. And we had conversations each day but one. One day he was just so terribly exhausted. But my son is high-functioning autistic, and I'm just accustomed to a lot of neurological things with myself from my healing journey, and I know that the brain can be a really tricky thing, and I could see so much activity in his eyes, but it was just something that he couldn't put. It wasn't leaving his body. It wasn't coming out of his mouth, and there was so much he wanted to say that he just couldn't. But for me, just sitting and holding his hand was so powerful. So I had such an amazing trip with him, and I look at that video and I just cry. It's just so amazing to see the emotion and everything there, and just felt really blessed. Never imagined how hard it would be to leave and to come home knowing that I wouldn't see him again, probably on this earth. Really wrecked me, and came back to milling lumber and getting prepared to build a cabin for my son, the mountain boy. And my dad passed away on November 8th, And the night before he passed away, I was sitting right here, wrapped up in his red and black flannel. When I was there, I was gifted some of his flannel shirts and his leather hat, and just sitting here, and I just couldn't get it together that day. Just couldn't get it together. I tried, but you know what? Some days we're just meant to just resign to the place we're in. It's okay to not be okay. It really is. We can have these down days. We can have those down moments. And it wasn't that I was totally down. I was just sad. Sad that I was going to lose him, that he wouldn't be here on this earth. Excited that he was going to heaven, knowing that God was going to remove him from any pain and struggles, and that he'd be able to look down on me. And, you know, somebody shared with me about how exciting and how awesome it must be for him to be up there and sharing with Jesus and his friends how proud he is of me and all the things he'd have to say. And I was like, wow, I never even gave that any thought. Never gave that any thought. I was just thinking about how I'm here praising how amazing he was, you know? So, but I really had an off day, and then he passed away on the 8th of November. And again, I was so grateful that God took him without any pain. And then we spent time, 9 days, hustling to build my son's cabin, to get that baby under roof. It was quite the challenge. It's not a big cabin, but it was a lot of work, and it was just my husband and I. The mountain boy was able to help some, but he was working much of the time. And we got it all wrapped up, buttoned up, roof on, everything ready to go. And we're putting the tools away, and within 15 minutes of having everything taken care of on that house, it started to snow. So it's been a rush. It's been quite the rush. And I've just found myself in a place of just dealing with a lot of trauma returning and just emotion. And I felt it was really important for me to share this message today, because it really is okay to not be okay. You know, I've only been doing the Breathe to Healing podcast for a short while, but I've been podcasting on Mountain Women Radio. This is my 10th year. And I've shared a lot, and they know me for being a very positive, inspiring, and encouraging individual. I love being in that space. So I really struggle when I have a down day. I struggle when I don't feel 100%. And I struggle when I can't grab my bootstraps on my own, and I need to recruit my prayer warriors. And we shouldn't feel that way. But I love life, and I'm normally 99.9% of the time in that positive headspace. So for one, we need to learn to lighten up and not be hard on ourselves, and allow ourselves to have those down days, those moments, those days where we just need to rest. And I've had many of those in my healing journey. But it's a matter of having the right tools in our tool belt and not getting stuck in that place. It's okay to not be okay, but don't stay stuck there. So having the right tools is really important. And having gratitude in our life is extremely powerful and can change everything. Because through the good, the bad, and the absolute ugly, there's always something to be grateful for, and there's always good. I promise you, because I've walked that out multiple times in my life. So that's also why I created the Relentlessly Faithful Gratitude and Prayer Journal. And if you'd like to find that, you can go to breathetohealing.com/Tammy Trayer. And you will find all of my books. And there is a volume 2 on its way. It was supposed to be released on 11/22/22. I love numbers. God really shows me a lot of things through numbers and just his presence. And I sacrificed that releasing on that day so that we could get my son's cabin built. And it was very worth it. I'm so excited and just proud of my son, and excited to be able to bless him with this amazing cabin for him here. He'll have an amazing view like I do. You saw my view. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see the intro, and that is my playground. That is my front yard, and it's just amazing. But it's important to focus on the gratitude in our lives. And that was why I created the gratitude and prayer journal, so that people can use that to create a new habit. Every day, writing down what you're grateful for and continuing that process will create that new habit and keep our focus on the good in situations instead of the bad. It's really easy to get drawn into the negative and into the bad and to stay in that space. So be sure to focus on what's good in your life, regardless what's going on. I know there is something to be grateful for, and even if that means that you've got breath in your lungs and that you've been given another day. I've been there, so my heart goes out to you if you're struggling, and you can always reach out to me at podcast@breathetohealing.com. I would be more than thrilled to be praying for you. It's a privilege and an honor to pray for people. So if you need prayers, if you're going through something hard, it's also important having those good people in your life. And if you don't have them, reach out to me. It would be an honor. The other thing is being kind to ourselves, paying attention to what we say to ourselves and flipping those things. If you're saying negative stuff, turn it to something good, because you are beautifully and wonderfully made. You are enough. You are worthy of anybody's love, including God's love. And, just say nice things to yourself. You would never say the things you're saying to yourself to somebody else. So be kind to yourself and be kind to others. When we experience these situations and when we are able to pay things forward and be kind to others while we are struggling, it is very renewing and it is very gratifying, and it is oftentimes just what we need to help us grab our bootstraps. So sometimes distractions are good. Don't hide away too long. Sometimes people hide away. I am an empath. I am a hermit. I'm an introverted extrovert is what I am. And so I do kind of hermit up naturally anyway. It's just my nature. But be aware of that and don't hide. Don't stay stuck too long. The other thing is taking care of yourself. Take a nap. Get to bed at a decent hour. Honestly, I've been going to bed. I saw this meme that said that my dinner time and my bedtime are starting to get awfully close. Does that mean I'm getting old? And I started to chuckle because we've been going to bed with a time change. We would come in from being out in the cold all day long, working on the cabin, and come in and eat and just be thoroughly exhausted because you're out in the outdoors. That cold can really wipe you out. The heat, then you come in and you have the heat and like, man, it's time for bed, and you look at the clock and it's like 5:30. So it's just kind of funny. So I am that meme right now, and that's okay. But getting good rest is really important. Also, sometimes people can get too much rest. I'm one of those people that I need good sleep, but if I get too much sleep, it actually does the opposite. It makes me more tired. So, maybe you need to find what works for you and find that perfect amount of hours that gives you good rest. And if you're tired throughout the day, take a nap, take a break, pause. Also, if you're here with me on Breathe the Healing, you've done breath work with me, or you are curious and are trying to find more out about it. Breath work is an amazing tool that helps us work through trauma. It helps us to manage chronic pain, PTSD, depression, and ultimately even heal from these things. It keeps the body open. Every breath in opens that body up, and every breath out allows you to release. So it's a great tool for trauma, and God guided me to it with purpose, because when I made my return trip to Pennsylvania, I also never imagined that through conversation with my mom, I would unravel some of my past trauma. And I've been dealing with that too. And that's been, anytime you have to deal with past trauma, anything that was negative, especially when you're a positive person, can be a little rough. The nice thing with breath work is it helps us to chip away at the layers. So every time you do a breath work session, you are chipping away at the layers of the trauma that is stored in your body. And unfortunately, our bodies do store trauma, and it affects us It affects us in a lot of ways. Pain, autoimmune diseases. So by activating ourselves with breath work, it is very nurturing and can really touch and heal the body, the mind, and the spirit. So often when we are in low places, we just feel totally depleted. And breath work is very renewing. It adds vitality. It adds creativity. It's not just that it's chipping away at negative things, it's improving all the positive things. For the last 15 years, my lymphatic system was clogging regularly. And our lymphatic system is what gets the garbage out of our system. So if all that garbage is staying stuck, it's keeping us sick. It's not healthy. And I struggled to keep my lymphatic system open. Deep muscle therapy was one of the things that was greatly helping me, but I couldn't keep it open. Now with the breath work, every time I do breath work, it just opens the system. My stomach starts gurgling and percolating. Everything starts moving. I'm really not having problems with my lymphatic system anymore, which is a huge praise. And so many people struggle with that and don't realize that they're having problems with their lymphatic system. Heavy inflammation, excess fluid, that is a really good indicator that your lymphatic system is not flowing well. And if you're not making a bowel movement, yes, we're talking poop. If you're not making at least one or more a day, it's typical that you're constipated, and that's because things are not moving. If that is not moving, then nothing can move. So that is a really important thing, is keeping your bowels open and keeping your lymphatic system open. So breath work is just so nurturing. And I am so excited because I have MP3s coming to my website before Christmas. And you'll be able to download those, purchase those and download those for varying different things. Stress, anxiety, overwhelm, depression, creativity, keeping the lymphatic system open. There are a ton of them that are being edited right now and even recorded as I share this with you. So they are coming your way, and an hour-long breathwork session a week is enough. But you can also do 10, 15, 20, 30-minute breathwork sessions throughout your week. I like to start my day doing 15 minutes worth of breath work to really activate my body, my mind, my spirit in the morning, and just get me off to a good start. That extra oxygen is so nurturing to the body. So I highly recommend, if you're feeling depressed, anxious, sad, to pause and do a breathwork session with me. And breathing is something that is very overrated. We take for granted because we breathe every second of the day. However, we don't realize that we're taking shallow breaths or that we're holding our breath most of the time. We've become so deprogrammed. When we are born, we are instinctively born with the ability to breathe nice, good, deep breaths. But as we go through life, as we experience trauma, as we experience life, we start to breathe very differently. So another part to breath work is that you start to pay attention much greater to how you're breathing as you go about your days once you start doing breath work. I do have Friday sessions that I do, group sessions every week. They're much more affordable than a one-on-one. One-on-one breathwork sessions go very deep and are very nurturing. The group session is very nurturing as well. It's just a group setting. And I'm offering them at a very discounted rate because I want to reach people with this tool. People need this tool to be able to enjoy their lives and to be able to remove the past trauma that so many have experienced. You know, we live life thinking that we're the only ones that have experienced rough things, but my goodness, there are people out there that have gone through some hellacious things. And again, being kind to people is so important. You never know. People walk through life with a smile on their face, but behind that smile, there is so much that has gone on. So be kind to people. And and just realize that other people are experiencing things too. But join me on Fridays, breathethehealing.com/group session, and you can join me and just be renewed, be empowered, be healed. It's an amazing process, and we have a bunch of great people that join, a lot of prayer warriors, so you can come and make friends as well. It's very powerful, very, very powerful. So you have sleep, you have breath work, exercise. Exercise is extremely, extremely important. And before I go into that, let's just pause. Whatever you're doing, you can continue to do it, but you can just, even if you're driving, just don't close your eyes. I love to close my eyes when I do my breath work. It just takes me so much deeper. But breath work is just a simple circular process. It's a rebirthing breath work. And all we do is just start out by taking a 3-second inhale and a 3-second exhale. So you breathe in, 1, 2, 3, and exhale, 3, 2, 1. Take another deep breath in. And gentle exhale. And another deep breath in. And gentle exhale. You just stay in that pattern. Just take those nice 3 deep breaths in. Those 3 deep, nourishing breaths in can remove you from a fight and flight mode. They can help you if you're anxious, nervous, worried. Just pausing and taking those 3 deep breaths in can be so nurturing to the body. It's like a restart button. And I encourage you, use what I'm teaching you. I'm giving you all kinds of free resources, because by having these tools in your tool belt, you will be able to live life in such a healthier way and be able to have the tools to maintain and keep yourself, regardless what it is that you're experiencing. And if a 3-second breath is too short for you, some people are really deeper breathers, so you can do that for 4 or 5 seconds in and just match the exhale to the inhale. And just remember that you do not need to force anything. It's gentle. This is such a gentle breath work, but it's extremely powerful, and you will process a lot. So that's why I recommend that people join me, if anything, in the group setting, so that if you experience anything, I can be there to help you and nurture you and support you as you process old garbage. It activates the body, and you'll feel sensations. You activate the memory side of the brain, so you may recall things. So it's a very powerful tool. But taking in those 3 nurturing breaths and just continuing in that pattern for 10-15 minutes can maybe be all you need. So in addition to the breath work is stretching. Highly recommend stretching daily. Stretch your muscles, because when they get tight and constricted, your organs can't do what they need to do. So you're never going to be running optimally. And honestly, I don't need a chiropractor. And for those of you that are chiropractors, I'm not trying to take away your business, but I haven't needed a chiropractor since I started doing breath work, because as I do the breath work sessions, it actually nurtures all of my muscles and loosens them to such a degree that my skeletal system just goes naturally into place. When our muscles are tight, it keeps our bodies from staying in alignment. And that's why it's so important for us to stretch, but also do breath work. Breathing properly is important. God gave us this tool and we don't use it well. And, many of us don't know how to use it. So that's why I'm teaching and sharing with you the power you hold within you that God blessed us with. Our bodies are amazing healing machines. In addition to stretching, I highly recommend exercise. walking is just something so simple. It's not hard on the body, but get out and walk. Walk for 15 minutes a day. I'm in this get up today because I came into thaw. My nose is still a little red. It's 22 degrees outside, and I was out walking and doing some outside chores, so I came in to warm up. So getting out and walking is very powerful. Shoveling snow. For me, I don't need a gym because my household and homestead chores keep me very active. Getting firewood, carrying water, hauling water, dealing with water, shoveling snow. All those things are very physical activities, and I'm grateful because that will keep me very active and my body going for a longevity that I may not have otherwise. So exercise is very important. Keeping ourselves in a good headspace and just paying attention to what we're saying to ourselves, what we're saying in general, and flipping that switch. If you are saying negative things, you wouldn't say those things to anybody else. So be sure to flip that switch and say positive things to yourself. You are beautifully and wonderfully made. You are worthy. You are forgiven. You are amazing. Your best is enough. Remember those things. Remember those things. And a good tool is to write down the negative things that you're hearing and saying to yourself. Write them down, and then write the counteractive sentiments that would go with it. So if you're saying you're fat, you are beautifully and wonderfully made. If you are saying you are not enough, you are more than enough. Right? And you're not stupid. You're very smart. We all have these foolish moments. I have them too. But that doesn't make us stupid. So be good to yourself. But know that it's okay to not be okay some days. And really nurture yourself and find the right people. Sometimes we stay stuck and stagnant because we surround ourselves with the wrong people. If you are not in a situation where people are loving on you and lifting you and encouraging you and inspiring you, sometimes those can be the closest people to us. And we can't always escape them. So I'm not recommending escaping those people unless you are in harm's way. But learning how to be in their company without taking in what they are saying or what they are, their toxicity, and finding environments that you can escape to. Bible studies, men's and women's groups, finding an online Bible study. I offer a Bible study. You can find that by going to trayerwilderness.com/Bible Study Book Club. I'll include the links down below for anything I mentioned today. Surrounding yourself with good people and positive people and people that love on you is so powerful. So powerful. And we all need that. We all need loved on. We are meant to be loved. We are meant to love. So, the more we love, the more loved we can be. Nurturing ourselves is the first step in that, because oftentimes we aren't loving ourselves. So keep that in mind. Also, making sure that your vitamins and minerals are at proper levels. A really good diagnostic test for that is through creatingbalancedhealth.com, and you can use coupon code BREATHE to healing, and you'll get a discount. They're amazing. It is a saliva and a hair analysis test. I've done them many times. I use them a bunch through my healing because it's really important to know where we are at and where our bodies are at and where we might be deficient. You get a really good report, which I can also help you go over. And it's very valuable tool to just for maintenance, to see where you're at, or if you are on a healing journey and can't get answers or struggling with something that you can't figure out, this may be the right tool for you. So again, creatingbalancedhealth.com, and use coupon code BREATHE to healing. Just taking good care of ourselves. Vitamin D is a very important one. Vitamin D, although it's not a vitamin, it helps to regulate all of our hormones. It helps to keep us balanced. It is a hormone, and an optimal level of vitamin D is really important. I take 20,000 IU a day. Idaho tends to be very deficient in vitamin D, and vitamin D is extremely important for so many things. It is very useful for seasonal depression, and like I said, keeping all the rest of our hormones balanced. And when all that goes off kilter, that can affect us in such a negative way. So be aware of that. Magnesium, vitamin Bs, so many of those things, if they are depleted and off, can affect us in so many other ways. I've established so much in my healing journey and have such a desire to share all that with you. So each episode I'll be sharing tidbits, tricks, tips, those kind of things. You will find links below in the description on YouTube and in my show notes, archived on breathetohealing.com/podcast-4. You will find all the information I'm sharing today. But in there, I've shared a couple links to good sources of vitamin D, which I highly recommend. Making sure that you are taking vitamin D, a good multivitamin. And when I say good, be sure to do the research on the supplements that you're taking. So many of them have synthetic ingredients and GMOs. So it's very important that you are seeking out good supplements for yourselves, because GMOs, genetically modified organisms, wreak havoc on our bodies. So do the synthetic ingredients, and it also has a tendency to cause allergies and struggles in our bodies, and they aren't good quality, so our bodies are not absorbing things well and not getting the nutrients anyway that it needs. And so it's important to spend your money wisely. So be sure to check for good supplements. I will share some links to some of my favorite brands down below. But take care of yourself and just know that it's okay to not be okay. Rest in that day. Stop pushing yourself. Stop being hard on yourself. Find good crafts and good projects to work on. I love doing things with my hands. I like making jewelry. I love doing leather work. I love knitting and crocheting. I love learning. So find something that you enjoy. Read a good book. Listen to an audiobook. I've been reading the Bible right now. I'm doing a really awesome Read the Bible in a Year plan. Just has really drawn me in, and it's a really great way to seek God as well. So seeking God is truly the answer for me. I am out in my wilderness playground all the time, and that's still quiet, where I can really just hone in on Him, talk to Him. You know, shoveling does not need to be a mundane task. Dishes do not need to be a mundane task. I spend that time with God. Don't let the enemy settle in and start telling you all those negative things or bringing back negative memories. That's the enemy sitting in and settling in. Don't allow him to take that space. So spend that time wisely, pulling into good podcasts that encourage and inspire you, and listening to good things and good worship music. I have a really good playlist set up that I listen to for my Breathe to Healing clients. And you can go to breathetohealing.com, and there's a link for it on the website, or I believe you can go to breathetohealing.com/playlist, and you will locate my playlist on Spotify. I encourage you to listen to things that encourage you and inspire you and nurture you, instead of allowing yourself to stay stuck in a negative space. So I've given you a lot of tools today. Today's a little longer. Thank you for sharing this time with me. God is good. God will bring you through everything that we experience, and just seek the gratitude in your life when you're going through rough times. You know, this is a holiday season. Many people are loving this holiday. There are others that really struggle during this season. So again, if you are struggling, don't do it alone. Reach out to podcast@breathetohealing.com. Let me know how I can be praying for you. It is always such a privilege and honor to be able to pray for people and support people when they're going through any kind of struggle. But remember to seek God in the good, the bad, and the ugly, not just when it's hard. Seek Him now. Seek Him, because that's the relationship is where the power's at. And that's where you step into such a magnificent habit, life, love, reciprocated love. It's just amazing. So seek Him. Seek Him. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. And if you want more information on that too, reach out to me at podcast@breaththehealing.com. So guys, thank you for letting me share my heart today. I love you all, and I wish you guys a wonderful rest of your day and look forward to visiting with you on the next episode. God bless.